Okay, we got a few more examples. So looking at this group, how could I group these? Now, if I notice, I've got some really big numbers, and all of them end with a 5. So I know I can divide them all by 5. So before I try and group mine and factor by grouping, I'm going to go ahead and factor out of 5. So if I factor out of 5, I've got 105 divided by 5 is 21 n cubed, plus 75 divided by 5, 35 n squared, minus 75 divided by 5 would be 15, and 125 divided by 5 is 25. Okay, these are much smaller numbers to deal with. Now what can I group together? Well, I have a 21 and 35. Those could be grouped together because they both have an n to a multiple power, but they also are both multiples of 7, right? And I could also group 21 and 15 because those are both multiples of 3. Really, it comes down to which one you want to do. I'm going to go ahead and group my first 2 and my second 2, I think, this time. So what is the greatest common factor here? Well, it would be 7n squared. And when I factor that out, I'm going to multiply 7 by what to get to 21? 3, and I'm missing an n. And 7 times what gets me 35? A 5. I'm not missing any n's there. Okay, now what about these guys? What's my greatest common factor? I believe it's just going to be a negative 5. Negative 5 times what gets me 15? It's going to be positive 3. I can't forget my n. Negative 5 times what gets me negative 25? Positive 5. And look, I've got the same thing on both sides here. So we're going to factor that out. So what times 3n plus 5 gets me this whole first term? 7n squared. And what about the second term? Negative 5. Now, one thing that we have to remember, I've done all of this work, I have to bring down this 5 that I factored from the very beginning of the problem. If you don't, then your final answer is going to look like my black equation here, when I need it to actually look like the one I started with up here. Okay? All right, let's give another one a try. How can I group example number 4? This one looks pretty straightforward. I've got a 4 and a 12. Those are divisible by each other, and a 5 and a 15. So my greatest common factor for my first pair would be 4v squared. What am I missing? Just a v and a 3 to get to the 12v squared. What can I factor out for the second part? I can factor out a negative 5. Negative 5 times what gets me negative 5v? Just a v. Negative 5 times what gets me positive 15? Negative 3 gets me positive 15. Now I have the same piece here. So we're going to factor that v minus 3 out. And there's my final answer.